Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you with another jewelry making project. And today I thought we would make a multi-strand bead and chain necklace. And I mean, we're coming into the cooler months. So, well, in some parts of the world. And I love multi-strand necklaces, but I don't want to be weighed down with a lot of beads. So I thought this would be a nice combination of beads and a chain and a nice multimedia piece. And we can have all of our different strands and not feel overwhelmed with it. So I thought that that would be our next piece. I'm going to show you several things. I'll show you how to wire wrap, do some wrapped link beads and link them to each other directly. And then I'm also going to show you how to link some beads to chain with jump rings. We're going to make our own clasps, and we're going to make what I'm calling, you know me and my crazy clasps, the Hourglass funnel clasp loop. This is going to be the connector for our hook. So there's our hook. There's our loop. Isn't that cute? It's like a little hourglass. I had seen this where half of it was wrapped like this. And I thought, well, why not wrap the other half? Wrap both sides. Wouldn't that be neat? Or I'd seen some wrapped jump rings. And then I saw a double loop with the wrap on one half and a bead on the other half. I thought this would make the neatest clasp loop. Isn't that the cutest thing? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. We're going to make our clasp hook. We're going to work with jump rings. We're going to wrap some beads. We're going to put it all together and make this wonderful cacophony of strands into a statement piece. So let's get started. We've got things to do. We can't sit here chitter-chattering, no matter how much I would like to do that. Okay, so the things that we need: round nose pliers, chain nose or square pliers, cutters, a ruler, jump rings in the color of your choice, chain in the color of your choice. What I'm doing, I'm mixing it up. I'm going to wrap my beads with copper colored wire. This is a vintage copper. And I'm going to attach them to a silver chain. And then I'm going to have gold and bronze chains for contrast. This is a true bohemian piece. And so I wanted to just have a lot of fun with it and see what we get in the end. So I need my ruler, my jump rings, my basic tools, round nose, flat nose, cutters, 22 gauge wire. I'm using 22 gauge wire all the way through, and it works for everything, including the clasp. I know people say, oh, that seems a little thin. Well, it's a double fold clasp, so it works just fine. Very nice. And what else do we need? That's it. You need our chain, our beads. It's mostly chain and beads, our wire, and our tools. And we are ready to roll. So the first thing we're going to do, let's wrap some beads. So the first thing I want to do, I shouldn't have picked this white one because it's disappearing against my backdrop here. Let's see. This one. Oh, yeah. I got this whole thing. Let's see if that'll work. Okay, now I hope that's not too dark. It's too dark for the blue. I'll switch it out. So anyway, so first thing we're going to do is wrap our beads. And the easiest way I have determined to decide how much wire I need, it depends on your beads. If your beads aren't all the same size, you're going to have to change it each time. So the easiest way I've decided to determine to figure out how much wire I need is to take my bead and measure it, give myself another inch to 1.5 inches of wire on each side of the bead. That will give me enough to make my loop and to make my wraps. So if I have this is a little more than 1/2 inch. If I give myself another inch on each side, that's going to be 2.5 inches total. And I'm just going to give myself 3 inches. So that should be plenty. And if I need to cut a little bit off, that's better than not having enough. So I'm going to give myself 3 inches. Okay, boop. There we go. Yeah, that should be plenty to wrap. So I'm going to be doing a 1/2 thing because I think it's easier to see this wire on the lighter backdrop. So I'm going to bend my wire back at about 1 inch to 1.25 inches. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to slide my wire down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. And I have the bottom of the teeth of my pliers under the short end of my wire. I'm going to bring that short tail of wire over the top of my pliers and down the side of my pliers until they're both, is that diagonal? Vertical. They're both vertical. Then I'm going to turn my pliers until they're laying flat on top above my wire. And I'm going to bring that tail around until it's underneath the pliers so that now I have a nice loop. So there we go. Now this loop, I can go ahead and wrap because it's going to be on the end of my chain. So I'm going to wrap the one side, go ahead and grab the face of my loop and just wrap that short tail of wire around 2 or 3 times. I like to give it at least 2. It depends on the look that you're going for. And look at that, I have just enough. That was 2. I'm going to keep going. And when I get to the end like this, I like to curve it around. I like to give it a little bit of a curve, like that, so that when I finish it, when I push it down, it's easier to get it to lay flat against my long stem of wire. So I just push it down with my flat pliers until that end is not sticking up, waiting to snag anything. A little closer. Here. Then I'm going to put my bead on. And I'm going to bend my wire back again. And I want my loop, this loop, to go in the same direction as that one. So I'm going to bend it back like so. Again, I'm going to take my pliers. Slide my wire down. Oh, this doesn't work. Go away. Slide my wire down around 1/3 of the way down my pliers, just like I did the other one. Wrap the short tail, that tail of my wire over until it's hanging down the side of my bead. turn my pliers until we've got a kind of a T shape. Bring that wire around all the way under my pliers until I have a loop. And I'm going to stop there because I want to attach this to my next loop. Now this one, I could have gone ahead and closed it up because I could have left the other one open, but we'll leave that open just to give you a visual. And I'm going to go on to the next one. This one is a little smaller, but I'm going to stay with my 3 inches. Just to be safe. So I'm going to get myself 3 inches. Snip that off. I like to hold on to my tail so it doesn't go flying across the room. Kind of eyeball it as to where I want to bend. It's about an inch, inch and an eighth, inch and a quarter. Bend it back until it's at a right angle. Slide my pliers onto the wire. The wire is about 1/3 of the way down the pliers, just like I did with the other one. I'm going to wrap that around. Till I have my loop. Grab the face of my loop and wrap that tail around a couple of times. Okay, and when I get to where it's almost too short to maneuver with my fingers, I switch to my pliers and let them do the work. Push that end down against the stem and introduce my bead. Slide that on. Same as I did the other side. Bend that back until it's at a right angle. Slide my wire down my pliers about 1/3 of the way. Wrap my tail over the pliers. Turn the pliers until I have a T shape. And bring that tail around until I have a loop. Now, I want to hook that in with this one. I'm going to slide that on. This is my closed loop. I've got the nice closed loop here. And I'm going to slide that down the tail of wire and inside my open loop. And now I can complete my wrap. Just wrap it around in between the loop and the bead. And again, you determine how many wraps you want to have. This is very free form, so it's entirely up to you. Make that a little tighter, so pull that up. Go. And push that end down. There we go. And now we have nice connected beads. And now the other side that I left open, I'm going to connect that to the rest of my chain. So here's the chain that I've already started. I'm going to take this open loop. I'm going to take the closed side, slide it down the stem of the wire, just like I did with the other one, until it's resting inside of the loop. And then I'm going to wrap it closed. Give myself several reps until I have a nice closed loop. And again, when it gets to the point where it's too short to do with your fingers, I can pick it up with my pliers and wrap. And you can do the 2-plier method too. You can hold it with one set and wrap it with the other. There we go. And just wrap it until I have no more wire left. And then I just push it down until the wire, the tail of the wire is resting against the bead and out of the way so that it won't scratch you when you're wearing it. There we go. Push that down. There. And that is the way we'll make our wrapped bead chain. The beads are all wrapped around each other. Neat, huh? That's chain number 1. The next one is going to be a chain that we attach to beads to a chain. So what I've done was take a chain and I just cut it into pieces. Just cut it into little pieces. And as you can see, they're all different lengths because I wanted this to not be symmetrical at all. And what I did was just attach it with jump rings. And again, I wrapped my beads in copper and then used copper jump rings to attach it to a silver chain, just to give it something different. So that's what we're going to do. All we need is a couple of jump rings to show you the proper way to open jump rings a couple of different ways. So I've got my jump ring. I just grab it on one side of the opening, which is right here, with a pair of pliers. And then I can take my thumb, push down on the other side beside the opening, and now I have a nice open jump ring. Just like that. The other way is to take your pliers, grab it on one side of the opening, take a second set of pliers, pair of pliers, and grab it on the other side and twist it open. So now, again, have a nice opening. And then when I close it, I just twist it back. You never want to take your jump rings and pull them apart, because if you do, you mess up the circle. And it's very hard, if even possible, to get it to go back into a nice circular shape. So you don't want to do that. So now let's link this chain to the bead. All you have to do is take your jump ring, slide it into the closed loop on your bead, slide it into the last link of your chain, and close. Here we go. I can either twist it closed, I can squeeze it closed, and then I can make whatever adjustments I need to make so that I have this completely closed and the edges are nicely together. See how nice and clean that is. And then I like double rings. I just prefer double rings on when I'm doing connectors, when I'm using open jump rings, because that way if I have a jump ring fail, if one of them fails, the other one saves the day. So, and I also like it because if I'm using it with chain it looks more like part of the chain. It looks like more of a chain instead of something holding the bead and the chain or the bead and the bead together. It looks like more as a part of this design. So I'm going to grab another jump ring. It's already open because we just opened it. I'm going to slide that in the closed loop of the bead, and I'm going to bring it around and slide it in that same loop of the chain. If it will cooperate. And now the one thing I want to make sure of is that I don't get it tangled up in the other jump ring. You want them to be two separate pieces. So there, I have it in the chain. I have it in the loop of the bead, and close. And then make whatever adjustments I need to make in order to get those ends nice and flush together. There we go. And so I have a connector nicely connected to my chain. And now let's connect that chain to another bead. So I'm going to grab another jump ring, connect it to the last link of my chain, add that bead, and close. Adjust it so that the ends are nice and flush. There we go. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit until it goes the direction that you want. And there we go. And now I'm going to add my second jump ring, as is my habit. Again, I'm going to slide it on that last chain loop, bring it around and slide the bead on. Make sure it's not hooked up in the other jump ring in any way. Nice and separate, and close my ring, and then make my adjustments so that the ends are nicely together. And there we go. So I've attached my chain to my bead on both sides. And there we have it. So that's our second chain. So now here's what we have so far. We have our two chains, one that's just chains, one that's just beads, one that's a bead, group of beads attached to a chain. Here we go. And now we want to introduce, I want to introduce some chains to the mix. So all I've done is you can take a ruler, you can decide how long you want this to be, and make the chains the length that you want, and then cut your other chains either the same length as the ones that you made, or you can graduate it. I decided to go with about the same length. And it's going to be up to you to decide what lengths you want. So I wanted to kind of graduate these. So I'm gonna put one chain and then a string of beads and then another chain and another string of beads. And that's the look I'm going for. You can also do this on a bead board, but if you don't have a bead board, it's not absolutely not necessary that you have to run out and buy one. You can just lay it out on a mat, and then you get a good idea of what your necklace is going to look like. Neat, huh? That is going to be very nice. And I just decide how I want it to go, what order, chain, beads, or bead, chain, or bead, chain, bead. It's entirely up to you how you lay it out. But that's what we're putting together. And now I'm going to show you how to make your clasps and to link everything. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is make our little hourglass loop. Cute, so cute. Okay, so what I need is about 6 inches of pliers, what I'm going to get. And again, we're using 22 gauge all the way through. Okay, let me give myself 6 inches of plier. And then I'm going to go about halfway down. So I can eyeball it or I can measure it. I'm going to go about halfway down my wire. And I'm going to bend it just a little bit. Not quite a right angle, but almost. And I'm going to make a loop. And I want it to be a decent sized loop because I want this hourglass to really show. So I'm going to go about 3/4 of the way back on my pliers and make a loop. All the way around, just like we did with our loops for our beads. So there's one loop. And then I'm going to make a loop on the other side. So this one's going around this way. And the other one's going to go, I'm going to flip it over and make a loop on the other side. So I'm going to take my pliers, slide it in there again, about 3/4 of the way down. And I'm going to, this one's going this way. This one's going to go the opposite direction. So I'm going to wrap that around. Until I have another loop. Now the secret of this is, the trick, I guess you can call it, is that one loop is on one side and the other loop is on the other side. So one tail is over here and one tail is on the opposite side. So it's kind of a little sandwich you got going there. And so now I want to start the first hourglass. So I'm going to take here, this tail is on the bottom side, and I'm going to wrap it around the loop with the tail that's on the top. So here's my loop on the bottom. I'm going to take my pliers, where are they? This loop goes around here. I'm going to take my pliers and hold on to the loop that's attached to this end of wire. And I'm going to wrap this end of wire around the other loop. So I'm going to bring this around and start wrapping around the face of the other loop. And I'm going up the loop. until I have a little funnel looking effect here. I only had to do 3 loops, 1, 2, 3, yes. And there are my 3 loops. And that is going to be the side that my hook goes into. That's going to hook right in there. So once I have my hourglass, or my funnel, I'm going to go to the back of it, and I'm going to clip this off right in the center of the loop. I'm losing my pliers. Here we go. So just clip it off right in the center of the loop. I like to scoot it away from the other loops so that I don't accidentally clip one of them. And I have to start all over. I'm going to hold on to the tail so it doesn't go anywhere. Hold on the ring so it doesn't go anywhere. And snip. Put that tail out of the way. And see, I had a good, what, 3/4 of an inch left that I didn't need. But that's okay. Push that down into place. And then I'm going to tuck that end. Should have been a little shorter. It's not quite in the center. So let's go ahead and cut that a little shorter. Okay, there we go. That's right in the middle there. And then I'm going to tuck the end down into the funnel. Like so. Ta-da. So there's my little funnel. The other side needs to attach. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. Because I need to attach it to this guy. That needs to attach. Oh no, that's fine because we're attaching everything with the jump rings. Oh, scared me for a second. Okay. And so now let's do the other side. Just hold on to the other side and start wrapping again up and around my loop. You don't want to hold on to this too tight because you don't want to mar your wire. Just enough to keep it in place. Or you can always use your fingers because it's big enough so that you can hold it with your fingers. The only reason that I don't is because you won't be able to see what I'm doing if I do. So I'm going to wrap that around. That was 2. And that's 3. Let's see. Do they look good? Yeah. There we go. And bring it around the back. This one I didn't even have to clip. At least I don't think I have to clip it too much, if at all. No, don't have to clip it. Bring that around the back. It stops right halfway. Very good. And tuck that end down into, let me bring this a little closer so you get a better look. So there's the end there. I'm just going to tuck it down into my funnel. And the camera, a little blurry. Tuck that down into my funnel. And there we go. Just make my little adjustments over here, straighten that out a little bit. And there we have it. There's my funnel loop. And if we need to straighten it up at all, there we go. No problem. Nice. Isn't that cute as it can be? Okay, and now let's make the hook that goes with it. So again, I'm going to grab about 6 inches of wire. 6 seems to be the magic number. All right, my little 6 inches. I'm going to go down about 1.5 inches down my wire. Okay. And I'm going to bend it in the center. Well, not in the center, but I've gone down 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to take my pliers and I'm going to bend this over until the 2 wires meet. And squeeze it a little closer. Get there. And then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm just going to squeeze those ends together. And I found the easiest way to squeeze this together without the wires crossing over is to kind of lay it against my fingers, grasp it with the pliers, and pull as I squeeze. So I'm pulling a little bit as I squeeze the wire. And I don't know why that works, but it works for me anyway. This gives me a little more control when I'm squeezing. A little bit more. A little bit more. Almost there. I don't know why I keep grabbing those pliers. Let's use these pliers. Yeah. Here we go. There. And now I'm going to take the long end, where the long end of my wire is, and I'm going to bend it right there at the bottom of the short end and make a loop. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers, slide them under that long tail of wire, and make a nice little loop. Just like we did all of our other nice little loops. So there's my loop. And I'm going to grab the face of my loop and I'm going to wrap that long tail around to enclose my wire. Now, an easier way, I guess I could have done this, was to give myself a little bit more of a tail extended down into my loop, then you have something to hold on to a little bit better. And then I'm just going to start wrapping around that double stem of wire. And I want my loops to be kind of close. And it depends on how much of a coil you want. I like a nice long coil. So I give myself a good 3/8 to a 1/2 inch. And it also depends on how much wire you have left. You can leave it nice and short, or you can just make it longer. I like it a little longer because I just like the look of it. But that, you know, that's artistic preference. And I don't like to waste wires, so I'm just kind of keep on wrapping. Squeeze my little coils. Yeah, there we go. And when I get to the point that I can't wrap it with my fingers anymore, I'll finish it off with my pliers. Now, I want this end to be underneath my loop. There we go. I want this end to be underneath my loop. So what I need to do is cut it off so it's going to be under. I need to decide what my front and my back is going to be. And there's my little tail sticking up. I'm going to clip that off so it's not showing, and be very careful that you don't cut something you don't want to cut. Cut that little tiny tail off. There we go. And I'm going to cut this. I'm going to make this the back side. So I'm going to cut this so that when I make my loop, this is underneath. So it won't have any way to catch on anything. So I'm going to snip that off. Hold on to that tail. Snip that off, get rid of the tip. And push down that end against the wire. There. And now it's time to make my actual hook. That part. And depending on what size you want your hook to be, that determines what you use. I could just use the back of my pliers and make it. Depends on how big I want it. I'm going to use, I want a little bit bigger. So I'm going to use this ink pen. So I'm going to bend my wire back. Again, that's where the little tail is. It's going to go into the loop so it's out of my way. I'm going to bend my wire back a little bit, almost right angle. I'm going to place my pin right there at the top of my coils. And I'm just going to loop the wire over my pin until the tip meets the coils. And there we go. And then I take my pliers, round nose, flat nose, it doesn't matter. And right there on the tip, I just make a little ledge, just like so. Now I like my end to rest against the coils so I don't have to worry about this sliding out too easily. I like it to be nice and tight. So if I push it back against the coils, it's gonna still leave an opening. It's gonna spring away a little bit. So I like to push it back behind the coils and then let go and adjust it so it's resting against my coils. So now when I put this on, it snaps into place and it won't come off. Now, one thing I did not show you was when this was long, you could have taken a little mallet and kind of pounded it a little bit so that it would keep it from, it would make it, it would work harden it. All of the work that you do with this will cause it to work harden anyway. So you may not have to do that. You really don't have to do that. I do it sometimes, or I like to show it sometimes so that you can see that once you've worked with it a little while, this toughens up very nicely because we're using 22 gauge wire. And I'm using soft wire. I'm not using half hard. I'm using dead soft. So you might want to toughen it up a little bit. But then there is my hook. There is my hourglass loop. And let's just put them together. Let's put everything together. So here we go. Here are all of the components that we need to make our necklace. So how do I want it? That is the question. I'm going to alternate chains and beads. That's what I'm going to do. So now how do we put it all together? Jump rings, yay. Our ever-present jump rings. So what I'm going to do is take the jump ring. I'm going to grab one end of my chain. I'm going to start with my copper chain, or this is my bronze chain. I'm going to grab my beaded chain that's actually attached to a chain. And then I'm going to do my plain gold chain next and end with my beaded strand. Got them all on there. I'm going to attach my loop, put that on there, and I'm going to close it up. Then I'm going to grab a second jump ring. And again, I go back in the same order, and I'm going to slide it through all of those rings. So there's the first one, which is the copper. Is it the bronze? Which is first? Let's see. My strands in order here. There we go. So I start with my bronze. Move on to the second ring, and it's already mapped out on the first ring. So you just have to follow the same direction. It's the first one, second one, third one, and the fourth one. And then I close it. There we go. And that's one side, all nicely linked. So let's go to the other side. The biggest trick here is to make sure you have everything in the right order. So I've got my beaded chain, my gold chain, my beads on my silver chain, and my bronze chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab my jump ring. Check, just to double check to make sure. So I have my copper bead chain, my plain gold chain, my combo bead and chain link or strand, and my bronze chain, my plain bronze chain. And add my clasp hook. There we go. What I think I'm going to do, I can do it like that. Yeah, I'm going to do it like that. Yeah. Because what you could also do is put 2 of them on, then your clasp, and then the other 2. But since I did all of them, all of the chains on, and then added the other side, I'll do the same thing on this side. So you could do 2 chains, 1 clasp hook, and then the other 2 chains, but do the same thing on the other side. But I put all the chains on the jump ring and then added my loop. So I'll do the same thing with my hook on the other side. And then close my jump ring. Make sure it's nice and flush. Here we go. And let's introduce our second jump ring that I like to think of as my safety net. We have a jump ring fail. I have another one to come in, and da 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 da. You're safe and sound. Again, I'm following the same direction as I did the first jump ring. Beaded chain, plain gold chain. Get back over there. Let's try that again. All right. My bead strand, my gold chain, my beads with the chain, and my plain bronze chain. And always make sure that you're putting it through the last loop on your chain. And then finish it off with my hook. There we go. Everything's on there. Double check just to make sure. And close it up. And you always want to make sure that you don't accidentally hook the second jump ring in with the first jump ring. So I always check to make sure that that other jump ring is separate. Close it up. Make sure everything's nice and flush and closed completely together. Yes. And there we have it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our necklace. There it is. Is that awesome or what? I love it. Isn't that neat? Ooh, 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 ooh. And our clasp is just as pretty as the rest of it. I love it. I love making decorative clasps. I just think that kind of helps tie everything together. Okay, that's it. That is our piece for the day. And I think it's the beautiful introductory to heavier months. They don't have to be boring. They can still be beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I moved my earrings so you can see. Oh, isn't that neat? I love it. Yes, that is so neat. It's got plenty of beads, but it's not weighing me down. Lots of color. It'll go with any and everything. Oh, I see two blue beads together over here. Darn, just switch those around. That's okay. Anyway, that is our piece for the day. I hope you liked it. I really, really like this. We made another one at one point that had multi-strands that were extended from a piece of leather. But I wanted one that went all the way around the neck because I just wanted something that was just a complete riot of color that you wear under a collar, over a turtleneck, over a round neck, a V-neck, with any and everything. And it just has color everywhere. And lots of nice little chains. You can even add more chains. I just did 2 chains. You could add 3, 4, 5. You could graduate them up or down. It's entirely up to you. It's really your preference. I made this one 20 inches because I just wanted something that kind of went with everything, but wasn't way, way, way down too low where it might get in the way of things. So have at it. Those of you that get kits, you will get 3 pieces of chain that you can cut up and make. You can either do the one that I did with the combination beads and chain, or you can just do 3 chains and 1 set of beads. It's up to you what you do with it. This is a boho piece. It's a statement piece, and you need to make your own statement. So do it. Enjoy it. I hope you like my hourglass. What am I calling that thing again? My hourglass funnel. I can come up with the goofiest things. But anyway, it looks like an hourglass. I like it. And the really easy look. I mean, that is about as easy as you can get. And it's so neat. I love it. So give me some feedback. Let me know what you think, whether or not you liked it. If you will like it, yay. If you didn't like it, tell me why. If there was something that you couldn't follow, let me know. I think I've got better lighting in here. I'm squinting because it's so bright, because I've had a couple people say that they had a hard time seeing. And I know, especially as we get older, I mean, I throw these bad boys on every time I get ready to do the close work. I can see far away, but close up, not so good anymore. So I understand that. Please let me know. I lose light a lot earlier here now because of the time of year. So I have to be really careful and try to get some natural light in it, in addition to my artificial light, to get a good balance. You can see the shadows all behind me, to try to get a good balance so that you can see what I'm doing with my hands. I really, really appreciate it when you tell me if there's a problem so that it's something I can hopefully fix. Enough of the technical stuff. I hope you enjoy the beauty of this piece, and I hope that you will make it yourself, and I hope that you will show me what you make. I really love it when you post pictures of it on the library Facebook page, or you can send it to me at jewelrygen20 at gmail.com, and I will post it on the Facebook page so that everybody can see your genius. Again, that's jewelrygen, JEWLERYGIN 20 at gmail.com. I would love to see what you do. Please show me, or post it on the Facebook page so that I can see it there too. Okay? I look forward to your feedback. I look forward to you coming here again and doing more classes. Until you do, stay safe as usual. Have a good week, and have a great weekend, and see you next time.